Hi, my name is Bill Brown, and this is my final project for the blended learning class. I want to talk briefly about the accomplishments and the things that I've learned over the course of this course. So firstly, this is the learning software that we use. This is my Mimeo smartboard, and if I need to, I can always just write stuff on it. Like I can say hi, and I have a pen that allows me to do this on the board. So one of the things I always do is make sure at the end of the day I save all of these copies, and then I'll show you in a little bit how I post them to my Google Classroom so that my kids have them. But first I want to talk about these important points. So the most important tips for new blended teachers that I have is don't give up. You will encounter a lot of new vocabulary, theories, and technology. Just remember that in the end, your students will benefit from all of your hard work. And so the most important tips I have for a new blended learner is that this will be a different type of class than you may have been used to. There's a great deal of personal responsibility that comes along with being a student in a blended class. You'll have the freedom to learn when you want to, where you want to, and often what you want to. It is your responsibility to make sure that you get the work done in a timely fashion. So blended learning has changed my teaching in a lot of ways. I now use a smartboard a lot more than I used to, which, as you can tell, I like using the smartboard. And that's because I get to make copies of whatever I do in class, including all the notes that we take in class, so that all my students have access to everything we did in class, whether or not they're there or not. The other thing that I do a lot is I make videos explaining, like this one right now, the things that we did in class. So first I'll take a PDF copy, and then I'll explain it in a video, so now if you're not there, you don't even miss the explanation. Everything we do in class is documented so that you have access to this. And it serves two functions. One, it's great for all the students that I have that are not present, that are sick or out with sports or whatever their excuse is. It also helps the people that are not paying attention as much as we would like them to in class. And sometimes they just need an extra time looking at the same material when they're feeling better or when their mind is more engaged. And some people just learn better at night, so it's good for them as well. And additionally, it's great for accommodations for all of my ELL students and for my other students with special needs. So it serves all of these functions, and it just helps the general population so much in addition to all of the accommodations that it can fulfill. So some new ideas of what I've been doing is, like I said, I'm doing these PDF notes, the video explanations. I also make a PDF copy of all of the homework that they already have assigned, so that if they forget their book at school or they forget where their book is or whatever their excuse is, there's a PDF copy of it posted online, and it's added to the calendar so they know exactly when it's due. They have no excuses. And I like using the discussion board feature. And then the other thing that I started using a lot is a program called Desmos, and I'm going to show you guys Desmos in just a minute. But it really helps augment their learning and gets into some of the deeper levels of learning that they need to do. So I'm going to show you all that, and let's go start a tour of my blended environment. So this is my Google Classroom. As you can see, I have all of my classes listed right here. And another tip for you guys, when you're putting them in Google Classroom, put them in reverse order, because I don't know any way to change this order, and I'd love to have first hour up here and 8th hour at the bottom. So put them in reverse order to avoid that problem. So let's go look at my algebra for 5th hour. As you can tell today, I've already posted the class notes for 8.1 that we did, and I have both a PDF and a video. And there is the homework due that we were just talking about. Now, we use a program called Carnegie, and I'm not allowed to show Carnegie on the internet. Since this will be posted on the internet, I'm not going to do that one, but this is one that I actually made, so we can talk about the biased. So here's the biased homework. There's a PDF, so when you click on it, just like when my students do, here's a PDF copy of it. They can now print it. If they don't have a printer, they can simply just copy it on a separate sheet of paper, but there's no excuse for losing their paper copy that I gave them in class or for anything else they're going to do. The other thing I always do is make a PDF. So this is what we did during class that particular day. We had some videos that they can go and watch. We watched them in class. And then we talked about biased and unbiased. And then as we scroll down, you can see that as I was writing, and I was having a little trouble writing that particular day, we have unbiased, unbiased, biased, and biased. And what you're missing by doing this is the explanation. But it's better than nothing. So they have that at their disposal. So for some people that don't need the explanation, they just want a quick and dirty example or just want notes to print out, this works for them. For the others, however, they get to watch the video. So here's the video, the exact same lesson, and if I play it, you should be able to hear it.
Today we're going to talk about biased versus unbiased. Before we get into too much, there was 2 YouTube videos. Hopefully your link will click. Otherwise, just type this into your address bar. The first one...
So I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but as you can tell, they can just simply go through it, and there's lots of explanations explaining it. So let's go ahead up here.
Because the people you are talking to are likely to be all similar in nature. Same thing with a voluntary response. Anytime that someone is voluntarily joining your survey, it is by definition biased. So if you make a sample out of those people who choose to participate, so the way that would be is, say a magazine, in the back of the magazine there's a little flyer that says, here's an interesting survey, if you'd like to participate, mail it back to us. That's a voluntary response. That is biased.
Okay, so we have all these videos that the kids get to watch, and they can always learn from them. We also got projects we do, and I want to scroll down to find... oh, I like putting announcements on here too. So here's an announcement. We had a night called Exhibition Night, so I posted an announcement on here so they could see it. But I want to find is the forum post, so bear with me just a minute while I go find it. And of course it's going to be way down there. There it is. So the forum post was, if you could go back in time and give your 3rd grade self some advice, what would it be and why? And I love this question because I have a bunch of freshmen and they're just starting to see all of the things that they wish they could have remembered from elementary and middle school now come back because they decided it wasn't important and now they need it. So in the future, what I'd like to do is take this one and actually have them talk to 3rd graders and tell them all of the things that they wish they would have remembered. But in this forum post, you can see that they had some advice and I had them reply to each other. So they gave each other lots of feedback, and I was really impressed with all of the wonderful feedback that I got in here. So not sure which one I can read, but let's take a quick look. This one doesn't want to talk to his cousin. That's a good one. But there's lots of good advice on things that they could go wrong. Here, this Janasia says 2 wrongs won't make a right, so she obviously has some experience with that. Jada says not to be rude and be too bossy and to open up to people more. I mean, I was blown away by just the wonderful responses that I got by just asking such a simple question. So that's Google Classroom. Now the nice thing about Google Classroom is all of these homework assignments, like this take-home quiz, it's also posted on my website. So I'm going to click over to my website. This is a school website. So here's my website. There's announcements that I post up here. These are more for the parents because the parents can't see in Google Classroom, but they can see this website. Contact information, my learning goals, my lesson plans, my scales are all over here. But what is really important, I also have a poll, just kind of fun to take, is the classroom at the bottom. So this calendar gets automatically updated. Every single day, I keep this updated with exactly what we're doing in class. There's my Math 180. Here's the 5th hour. So you can see what we did in class today. This was the agenda that was posted on the board. The other thing that gets posted is these little blogs. These are the actual assignments. So here's a copy of the assignment. This is the biased, unbiased homework. It says when it's due right at the beginning of class. And if they need another copy, here's a direct link to go back to Google Classroom so they can go print it out. So the parents can see it. They may not be able to get into Google Classroom, but they can see exactly what's due. So overall, that's what most of my kids like to do. I do want to show you Desmos. So this is a website called desmos.com. Teacher.desmos.com is the one where students can actually, a teacher can instruct students, and then there's a student.desmos.com that the students get to do. But this one is called Match My Parabola, and what it was trying to teach them was how to match some points and make parabolas out of it. So, for example, if I click on this one, they just had these 3 points, and they had to come up with this equation that would go through the 3 points. And then when you get to the next one, now I got lots of points, and I got to come up with lots of different equations. What I like about it is that I can see exactly what they're doing, and then they have these questions over here. So here's a question, and I can look and see, do they agree and are they getting the point? And most of them were getting the point, which is why I quickly was able to do a formative assessment and realize that they understood. But now I can also look at everybody else's. So if I look at some of the other ones, I can see that this person is on the right track, but they're missing some. And if I go down here, this person obviously missed the entire point, that they had to go through this black dot in the center, and they're just making straight lines across. So I can now go and talk to individual students because I'm monitoring them through this software. So it's a really good piece of software. They have lots of interactive games that the kids absolutely love. So if you ever get to Desmos.com, I highly recommend using it if you have a math classroom. So overall, that's my blended environment as it now exists. It's going to keep on changing. I love adding new materials. But I want to talk about some of the feedback that I've had from my students. So my students have been really happy having their materials wherever they are, whenever they want to access them. 24/7, they can get their materials. Whether or not they left their book at home, whether or not they've lost it, it's in the friend's locker, whatever their excuse, they like having access to it. And they really like being able to go back and see the videos and look at that kind of stuff. And parents have been saying the same thing. They've been really, really happy that all of that stuff is so easily accessible to them and to their students. So that's it. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you learned something.